guys, because Christmas is over and I've had so many people ask me how I made my candy Christmas tree, I'm going to deconstruct it for you guys. I'm going to teach you how to make one of the branches and then you're on your own. I'm going to explain how many beads I used for certain things and stuff like that, but I really don't want to go through thoroughly and show you guys how to make it because it is so time consuming. It is ridiculous. So I'm going to deconstruct it, explain to you how I did things. If you don't understand it, I can try to clarify in comments, but I really don't want to make a tutorial on this. So this is just going to be explanation because it took me forever. Oh, with the presents, if you were wondering about this is the same thing as the solid 3D cube. I just made it with actual thread because I didn't want to waste elastic and the fishing line wasn't going to work too well for this. Then I just wrapped the string around one way and then around the other way, and I tied a knot and then I tied a bow on top of it. So that's just how the present was done. So we're gonna take the Christmas tree and taking off the ornaments right now. Okay, that's all the ornaments. The star was just held on by some wires that were sticking out, and whoops, dropped it. I just did a regular candy star, and then because it was being weird because I did it with fishing line and it was bending, I just tied some elastic to the ends here and pulled them together so they're closer, and then there's wire that's sticking out of the top because I made the base and then I put the branches on it. So the base is actually taller. It was actually taller than this, and I cut off the end of it to fit this on here better because I had the snowflake as the star on there originally. I'm sorry, this is sliding everywhere. But that was way too big, and so that's why I made the star to make it smaller, so it was more proportional and it looked better. Let me figure out. Okay, I have to take off the garland now. And how did I do this? I think I just wrapped this around. I don't think I tied a knot or anything for this. Oh, I tied a knot. Come on. There we go. This should just come right off then. There we go. Then you unwrap it. And I just took thread and I put a needle on it and then I just strung all these on. And that's how I did the garland. I think this end I might have actually tied. I'm not sure. Because the bottom kept slipping off. I don't know if I'm being counterproductive on that. Oh, no! It wasn't tied, it was just wrapped around them. So that's the garland. And then, this is what I did for the base. If you can see, it is just a big piece of... I took like, I think 6 wires to do this. I took 2 wires and twisted them together, took the other 2, twisted them, and the last 2, and twisted them. And then twisted them all together. And so I had one big long strand, and then I bent it and then made a circle and took the strands and broke them apart and wrapped them around this so it keeps the base in a circle. So it holds it together real well. And then each one of the branches are individually, and then I took wire and wrapped it around it. The branches got way too heavy as it got towards the top, and it got kind of leaning towards one side, so I stuck a pencil in there to hold it up, and that worked pretty well, except for next year I'm redoing the base so it actually stands upright. but I'm gonna pull from the top, because these aren't like super tight on or anything. They're kind of twisted, because they were twisted together and then had wire on them, and then I stuck it on here. Like, here's the wire that just popped off that. This is one piece of it. Again, it's not done super well or anything. It's just wire twisted together. Hold on. Oh, that's why it's being held together. Because the top of it, to keep the top together, I just took the wire and twisted one piece around it to keep the tops at a point. So I'm taking my wire cutters and cutting that. Okay. Come on. There we go. And then... and that's why I grabbed all my tools, because this is going to be a job. Boop. There we go. And then I can figure out which one is which. Okay. There it is. Okay. That's getting cut. Trying to figure out what is the branch and what is not. Once I get this apart, it'll be easier to show you guys what I did for the branches. These branches were actually wrapped together because I was having some difficulty, but the basic breakdown of the branches were 3 to 4 layers depending on the length of them, and they were done with a series of loops. You would start with a base loop, then twist it 2 or 3 times, add a bead, do 1 loop, then do the other loop, twist around like 6 times, add a bead, then make another loop, and another loop, and then twist it around, and then you're going to have the base where it's just the regular wire that you twisted around. But they're usually straight, but this is because I did the top. And I'll tell you each layer how many beads I used for each section. And I decrease it so the branches get smaller as you go up. So that's 1 layer done. Here's the second layer. And like I said, I seriously just wrapped wire around it. So I really didn't put it in any specific order. It was just wrap the branches and then stick the column in the branches where it would fit. I just made this on a whim, so I wasn't trying to make it for multiple years. I wasn't really thinking about that, but next year I'm going to redesign it and it's going to be a lot better, and I'll show you guys when I redesign it and what I did to improve it. And okay, that's just realized what I did to get the branches to stay together. I had originally twisted them together, so all the branches fit together nicely, and I twisted them together at first so they held together, and then wrapped them around on the base of the pole, and then wrapped wire around it so it would stay onto the pole. And like, because this is twisted, you could just slide it on and it will find a groove and it will stay there. And because the ends were kind of long and sticking out, I could fit them inside the other holes of the other branches so they would stay layered as well. So now on to the green layer. So what I just realized is how I put the layers together, the bigger layers like this, was totally different from how I put together the smaller layers, because these have bigger ends versus the smaller layers, which were tiny. And so I'm going to show you how I did the bigger layers together, which actually I think is a better technique of how I did it. I got to these bigger layers. I wrapped the wire around it like I normally did, but I would focus on putting 2 branches together and then wrapping those 2 together, adding a 3rd branch on there and wrapping it around it, putting on the 4th branch, wrapping around it, and putting on the 5th branch and wrapping around it. And as I did that, I would stagger them. So this would be the top layer, this would be below that, And so it kind of goes in this, you can see here where layers are higher and lower, so it gives that real tree kind of feel to it. So that's what I was trying to do the whole time, and I would like rearrange the branches so some points would point up and some would point down, so you get that branch kind of feel to it. So like this is untwisting one of the layers, and one of the branches should pop off soon if I can figure out which one it is. If they were having difficulty staying together, I would twist the ends. So that was the branch that I was trying to get off. That is not coming off right now. Let me see. There we go. That branch is supposed to come off. We're gonna untwist some of the bases. There we go. Now the layers are coming off. You see, and then there was 2 branches. And then the wire just comes off those. Like that. And I did the last pink one the same way as that. The pink base I wrapped around a lot, and I did that because this is holding up the weight of all the other branches because they were all sitting on top of here, so I couldn't have this one be able to move. So again, like, there's so much wire wrapped around that, it's ridiculous. I also took the ends and wrapped them around the base to stop that as well. So I just want to show you guys that. I'm going to disassemble this one, and then I will show you how many beads are on each of the layers. Okay, so this is a better look at the base. Again, I just took the wire and I wrapped it around, and then at this part, I split this wire, as you can see, and I wrapped it around here. Then I took the rest of it, bent it over, bent it up, and then it's all the same. I just took 6 wires, twist them together. It's not strong. If you guys could find possibly like a block of styrofoam and some kind of thin rod or pole, stuck it in there, that would be a lot better than this. This is flimsy, as you can see, and really sucks. These branches start off at 10 down here for this loop. And then you add on a bead, and then you do 10 for another loop, add on 2 beads, do 10 for the other loop, add on 2 beads, and then add on 12 for the ends of these. And it's the same kind of pattern. You've got whatever your base is, and then all of these branches are going to be the same base, and then you're going to add 2 beads to the end loops, so they're bigger branches. And then once you have your branches tied together, you're just twisting it and then bending it upward so you can twist around it. And so that's this branch. So this is 12 beads. So the next one's going to start off with, I think I did the orange one's actually the same. Nope. I did 8 and 8 and 8 and 8 and 10. So these are 8 and 10 beads. So 10, 12, 8, 10. Six and 8. So these are all 6, and these 2 ends are 8. This is also a 6 and an 8. So I did this the same size. But the difference between these two is, what is it? These are 6, these are 6, these are 8. This is 6 and this is 8. Because this has got 3 branches and the point. This has got 4 branches and the point. So that was how I decreased the size, is I took off the ends, but also this becomes the one with the bigger beads. So that was the difference there. And then the blue are 4 and 4 and 6. And I didn't want to do any branches any smaller than this for the other ones because 2 would just not work, obviously. So these branches, the top, were done the same. These are 4 and 4 and 6. But the difference here was I took the branches and I bent them. And I did 3 of them. So when you bend them, they stay together like this. And they meet up and then you have like a triangle pyramid thing. So that's how I did that. And these actually stood straight up on the points, unlike the other ones that were bent and tied together. So that's how those went. And then let me count how many I had on each layer. I think this was 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I had 6 pink layer on the bottom layer. I had 5 orange, 4 yellow, 4 green, 4 blue, and 3 purple. And that is how I made my tree. I'm going to show you how I did the branches. I'm going to do one example of the branch, and that's going to be it for this. Because again, super time consuming. I really don't want to sit there and make a whole nother tree. So I will get the beads and I'll show you. Okay, so I laid this out so you can kind of see how they were made. I'm going to do one of these branches, the smaller of them, because I just don't want to make a big branch. What I'm using is 20 gauge wire. It really doesn't matter what kind of wire. This is just wire that I had. As long as it's not super what is it? Super flimsy or whatever, it'll work for just about anything. I would say probably pull a piece that is maybe 1.5 to 2 feet. And wire cutters do not want to cut. Come on. There we go. Okay. So you take your ends of your wire and we're going to put on the beads up here. This is 6 beads, so we're stringing on 6 beads. Having it go all the way down to the bottom, and then we're bending it up. Twisting. I twisted about 3 times, so you get that. You can pull it out a little bit so they're not so clumped together or straight. Put the 2 ends together. Add 1 bead because that's going to hide the twist in the branch, like that. Then separate it out. And we're going to do each loop individual. We're doing a loop of 6 and a loop of 6. Again, I told you all the beads that you need for it. So for each layer, you go through and you make so many branches with so many loops and blah blah blah. So you get your 6 beads on, you bend it like this. I go from the underside and then twist it the opposite direction. So like that. And then take your other string. I mean, not string, wire. You add your 6 beads on. So you twist, and then you take your 2 pieces of wire and you twist around 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is going to give you something to this effect, where the wire is sticking up. You put your 2 ends together and add on 2 beads, and this is going to hide that twist. It roughly takes about 3 twists of a wire to match up to 1 full-size pony bead. So that's what I've been doing. If you come to it and you've got too much twist for your beads, you can always untwist a little bit, like that. And then if you're doing any additional wires, I mean any additional branches from now on, you're going to add 2 beads on after each layer of the branches. I'm doing my final branch now, so that's going to be 8 beads on each side. Because again, whatever your starting branch size is for the ending branch, you always add 2 beads. Whoops. So you bend under again, and then you twist 2 or 3 times. Separate branches out. Do your other branch. Seven, 8. You loop around and twist. It's going to give you something that looks like this. Then you pull your wire forward, take it, and we are twisting the wire together, and that's going to give you the twisted wire so you can connect it. An easy way to twist wire is, if you have it bent, stick your thumb right in there and your finger here and twist, and that's going to make sure that both wires twist around each other and not one wire twisting around the other. You don't want that. You want both wires twisted together. And then when you think that you've gotten a good size, push the wires together. Take wire cutters. Do not use scissors. This will ruin scissors. Don't use scissors. Get wire cutters. There we go. So once you've got it cut, then we shape it. And what I usually do is I take my pliers and I'll put it in the middle and twist, and it opens up the leaves. So, because they tend to get squished and whatnot, so opening them up looks good. And you can arrange them any way that you want. If you want them to be higher up, like if you want these to go up and these to go down, to add like your tree being more full or whatever, You can always twist it whichever direction, whichever way that you want. But that is how you do the basic trees. Oh, if you wanted to do the bend, you could go straight and then take either pliers or round nose pliers, doesn't really matter, and twist up. And that's how you get the bend in them. And that's how you make the branches for the Christmas tree. And I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you guys can put this together. Again, not a beginner project, and when I made this, I was not thinking about reusability. So you might want to think about that when you're planning on how to put yours together and what to use for the base and stuff. Because again, my branches now are all, that's not a good example, crooked and stuff, so I'm going to have to sit there and straighten them out next time I want to put them together. So again, think about usability, stuff like that, when you want to make your Christmas tree. And if there was anything that was unclear that you want help with, just message me, ask me about it, and I'll try to help you as much as I can. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.